Alright, we're going to do this video because I used to be a crime scene cleaner or forensic cleaner. They're the same thing, whether you like it or not. And there's a lot of this stuff in this video that's going to be edited out because I've signed non-disclosures and there's a bunch of agreements. I've got to be very careful with what I say and where I put stuff, and I can't say names, dates, places, locations, and places are the same thing. There's a bunch of stuff that I can't say where and when it took place. But I'm Irish, as you can tell by the accent. Most of you already know. I was a forensic cleaner in Ireland for 4 years. From insert date here to insert date there. I'm not really going to say actually because people could start putting stuff together. So for 4 years I was a crime scene cleaner, or forensic cleaner. I'm gone from that with a few years anyway. But I've seen some people do some videos. The Lad Bible did one. Watched that one, and it was quite good. It was alright. The man just seemed very hungry for money, but hey, that's what we do jobs for, I suppose. But yeah, so let's talk about it. So depending on where you'd go, being a small little cottage in the middle of the countryside, or a very busy apartment block in the middle of a dangerous part of Dublin. Depending on where you'd be working, you would have to sometimes hide your identity. There's quite dangerous people around there, and they would love to know some of the information that you know. I've since washed that from my mind. I can't remember a goddamn thing. So other things that we would have to wear. I'm going to bounce all over the place, by the way, because I'm trying to think of things that I did. So I'm just going to bounce all over the place and tell you everything. Another mask that we would have wore is this one. I can't remember what the name of this is, but basically, oh my god, I've just bust the clips on it. Anyway, so that's funny. This mask has been parked up a while, a good while, right, as you can see. But the chemicals that we use, I can't tell you what they are, but I can tell you that they've burned through this industrial rubber. So now this mask is broke. Anyway, so this mask, right, this is what we would have been using. We've often had to wear these because once you go into a scene, you can't usually come out. We prefer to go in, get the job done within the one sitting, I say, and get it done and come out of there. So I've wore that mask for 14 hours in one day. That was torture. And I've wore the full white forensic suit, you know, it sealed the tape and taped around the wrists. So literally the only breathing your body has is through these. That's exit, that's entrance. Filters too there. You can't smell anything. These are like, I don't think they're charcoal filters. I'm not very good. I just know that this does not allow any smell through whatsoever, because that is a smell you don't want to experience. If you've experienced it, I'm sorry that you've experienced that. But it's a smell that you'll never ever forget. But anyway, yeah, so we've had scenes, we wore these every scene just to reduce risk, because it's just bloodborne pathogens, there's all different types of stuff. For safety and for smell, mainly smell actually, because the scenes we'd go to, they wouldn't be super active. They'd be like a couple of days old, so anything that would be airborne would usually be gone, because we'd go in, open windows, just try and get clean air in there as fast as we can, and we'd be wearing these masks for the entire duration. But anyway, I can't tell you exactly how to clean a crime scene, right? That's just not something I can do, but I can talk about some things. And that's what we're doing. Something that I forgot to say like an hour ago when I recorded this video, I just went to edit it there now. I forgot to say, when you work in forensics, you notice everything. I went and I've stayed in a hotel, been in like a taxi, couple of taxis, buses. I notice everything. I've seen BL00D in hotel rooms that has been missed by cleaners. In bathrooms and stuff like that. You notice everything. It's weird. It's annoying. It's annoying. Anyway, that's all I had to say. You notice, you get like a super high level of detail because it's like top tier level cleaning. It's the highest level of cleaning. Apart from nuclear, I suppose. Yeah, anyway. That's all I had to say. That's all I had to say. I'm going to go back to editing the video and getting it up. You better like it. You better like it. And that's what we're doing. So I wrote stuff down. So yeah, so from small cottages to like city blocks, to like hotels, hotel rooms, to people committing the, I'm not going to say that word, but people committing the not feeling so good. those types of things. Most of the stuff we did was government contracts and with the guards and all that stuff, and not a whole lot of private work. Private work would be like if someone did the forbidden thing that some people do. The families would contact someone like us to come, but we mainly did government work, to be honest with you. There's a couple of other companies around that did more that kind of thing. From hotels to government facilities. Can't talk about them, but you can have a guess. You can have an educated guess. Whole tea break. It was a very cool job. Really cool. If you're talking to anybody and they ask what you do, usually they're like, oh, I'm a teacher, or I'm a whatever, design or engineer or something. That's all cool, right? Props to you. But if you say I'm a crime scene cleaner or forensic cleaner, boom, you've just opened like a whole new version of conversation. People are like, whoa, what? Hilarious. It's really interesting to talk about, but obviously you can't talk about certain things. You can only say some stuff. It was cool. It was very cool because when you work with government facilities, you get very high security clearance. I had one of the highest in the land. Just wrote on myself with pen. One of the highest in the land at one point. Had to be signed off by the minister of... One of the ministers signed off my clearance. It was cool. So doing that type of job, as you can imagine, you see more than your fair share of gore. So the likes of now I know these movies aren't too gory anyway. Or maybe they are to you. Different people have different levels of gore, I suppose. But I could sit down and watch Saw and see a certain injury happen to a certain person, and they put in their special effects and everything, and I'm like, no, there would have been more than that. For a saw to the leg, there would have been more than just a pint glass of blood, bud. But it's funny because you don't get even like moved by that kind of stuff at all. But on the other side of it, the company that I worked with, they were not very good. They kind of prestiged into this line of work, and I was one of the first to be trained with them. God, that's annoying me. I was one of the first to be trained with them in this type of work. So I went off, got specialist training on chemicals, handling dangerous biohazard stuff, and all the likes. I don't want to say too much, but I got professional training and all that kind of stuff in dealing with all different types of situations and things like that. But one thing that the company never brought into effect, and we didn't think about it at the time because we were going off to these jobs, we were doing them. It was the way I felt about it was somebody had to do it. That's how I looked at it, because I was like, right, this is a terrible job, but somebody has to do it. You can't expect like a family to come into the place or someone else who's not experienced and not trained in this to try and deal with this type of stuff. So I justified it for a long time as somebody's got to do it. So it may as well be me because I'm trained, I know what I'm doing, and it's not really affecting my mental health. You thought it wasn't affecting your mental health.
Somebody once told me the world.
It's chipping away. Think of a little pickaxe at a big massive rock, and you're thinking, how am I going to move this rock? But you've only got a little pickaxe, so you just start and you just pick every day. Keep picking, and eventually you will break through that rock. That's what happened. I basically, my mental health backflipped onto itself because of this type of work that I was doing. We didn't have access to a counsellor. That was our first mistake. So we went through this. We were having the crack. You know, you get a super dark sense of humour when you're doing this type of work. So me and a couple of the lads that I was doing it with, and ladies, got a super, super dark sense of humour where we'd be in these scenes and we'd be like laughing, like making jokes. But it's no offence meant by it. It's how your mind is processing what's going on. It uses comedy as a buffer, but really, really messed up comedy as like a buffer. But yeah, so I did it for 4 years. I really loved it because I was really good at it and I was really passionate about it and I liked to do a good job. But it definitely affects your mental health. Like, you start, maybe this is for another video, I can do it, see how this one does, but yeah, it super affects your mental health. I wasn't an anxious person before, now I'm an anxious person. You know, I'm very open about mental health now. I used to be, because I thought that it didn't affect me, but it affects everyone. We just have different levels, and now I will talk about mental health to anyone. And I would say that this job is incredibly hard. So much so that within a year, I used to tan. Now, this is relevant. I used to tan, right? I went to Spain for like 6 or 8 weeks or something like that a couple of years ago, and I wore Factor 3 sunscreen while I was over there. In the height of summer, an Irish person in Spain wearing Factor 3 sunscreen, and I just tanned, that's all. I used to never burn. In this 1 year, right, I got so stressed because of the job. It was weighing on me, but I had this thing where I was like, no, just keep going, it's fine, I'm fine. Like, I got so stressed that all of a sudden my body took a violent turn where all of a sudden my skin got more sensitive, and I now sunburn. I sunburn now. I got burned a couple of years ago after this, and I was like, what the hell is this? I am now gluten and lactose intolerant. Not the same as normal lactose intolerant people where they drink it and their stomach gets messed up, but my head gets super congested. And I was talking to a doctor about all this. This isn't just magic fairy Stephen wondering like, hey, this must have done this. I was talking to a doctor, and they said super high levels of stress can bring on ... and you've ticked them boxes. Well done, Steve. Your body goes through changes because it's trying to make a change and get you away from the situation. So it's like morphing. Yeah, I don't know, morphing is the correct word. But anyway, I'm not saying for sure, but in 1 year, I now sunburn, gluten intolerant, lactose intolerant. I used to be able to eat Weetabix until they come out of my face, since I'm this height. Now if I eat Weetabix, my whole head feels like it's going to explode. I was talking about this, to a doctor, and they were like, sometimes one of these things can come on with age, but not all of them at the one time. That's uncommon. That doesn't really happen. So yeah, my body went through changes because of the high levels of stress. I started going grey also, way faster than anticipated. But anyway, I like talking about this, but it's unfortunate because I'm limited with the jobs and the things that I've talked about. What we can go over is, sometimes I had to hide my identity. I can go over why in another video. That's something I can talk about, it's fine. I had super high security clearance. That's really cool. That's quite a cool thing for like a young fella to have. I can't talk about... I know what I can't talk about, and I don't talk about it with anyone. I don't. We've been all over the country 100 times over, doing the craziest stuff and the weirdest stuff. Almost like kind of government spook level stuff that's never ever heard about, never on the news. Obviously I can't say it, but like super sketchy stuff. Like doing it, and you're doing it for like the government, and they're like, yeah, just do it, and do it quietly, and don't tell anyone, and certainly don't tell any newspapers or tell people where you're going or anything like that. Don't go and do really sketchy jobs and leave at 3 o'clock in the morning to go and do them. Don't do that. But anyway, this has ended up with... Was I a government spook? I did some spooky things. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I've got 2 more things to talk about, right? 2 more incidents, and they're going to be 2 different videos. I'm going to milk this. You better believe I'm going to milk this. You're not subscribed. If you're not subscribed, you better subscribe right now. Right now. Otherwise, I'll be crying. No, I'm not going to say that. So, yeah, I've got another one where someone tried to pay me some money to do something. That's as vague as I can be, but you can kind of put something together. And another one where I was followed by dangerous people. Do you want to see those videos? Have I baited you enough? Have you subscribed? We got over 500 subscribers, by the way. And for my long-term viewers, where have I been? I haven't been putting up videos with the last like month. So, you remember this video where I got meningitis, yeah? I got incredibly sick. I was really bad in hospital. I was in ICU for a while. Go and watch that video if you haven't, it's hilarious. I am off my head on some kind of drug, pushing around this trolley thing, like laughing and recording a video. It's hilarious. Hi, welcome to Chili's. Hilarious. Completely controlled environment, by the way. Medical drugs. I was in hospital. So as a result of getting meningitis, I've been speaking to my doctor only the other day on this. A guy that I work with had a cough, right? Which was fine. People get coughs. It wasn't COVID. He tested and all this. I tested. I got a cough. I tested for COVID like 4 different times. Not COVID. Turns out there's other things that exist. I couldn't shake this cough and I still can't. Yeah. Yeah, so I've had this over 2 weeks, right? Usually it'd be gone within a week because I'm building myself up with a bunch of immune system stuff and vitamins, I think they're called. Anyway, basically, long story short, I had meningitis. My immune system is fecked for the next year. So I have another 6 months of a really bad immune system. And any viruses that are around, anything like that, not only am I pretty much guaranteed to get them, but my immune system's so low, it has some trouble fighting them off. God damn it! Just when you think you got it bad. Just when you think you have it bad. There's always something worse. But at the end of the day, it always could be worse. And that's pretty much all I got for you. It could be worse. Literally trust me when I say I have seen reasons why it could be worse. That's what's made me like I have this real kind of free flow attitude now where I'm like, yeah, whatever. Because I've seen we all end up at 0. We all end up in the same place. That's why you should subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to it. I'll see you in the next video. The next video will be a normal video. I'm not going to give you a sneak peek, but I'm looking at it right now. Subscribe.